Hello, my squishies! Welcome to the Friday night felt along. I just have a tiny bit of housekeeping to do, and then we will get on with felting. So, what I'm doing just now is setting it. So, just to give everyone pre warning, the live chats are saved so people can watch them afterwards. So, it doesn't look like I'm just talking to myself anymore, which is very exciting. So let's just do that. Yep, live chat is, replay is saved. We are good to go. And I'll just close that down. So in the chat, say hello so that I know I'm going and everybody can hear me. Oh, I have a hello from my moderator there. Hi, Mom. I'll give everybody a couple of minutes because I do this live just to log in. Hello, Morgan. So while we're waiting for everyone logging in and we're doing all the hellos, I'm going to give the people that have not felted before a quick introduction to needle felting and what we're going to be doing tonight. So open up your kit, and in it you'll see you've got this big foam mat. So this mat is what you want to felt onto. It protects your surfaces and it makes it easier for felting. So always felt onto this mat. We've also got our bit of fabric. So this is what we're going to felt our picture onto. And the picture stays on it at the end. Yours might have a picture drawn on it. I can't remember if I drew them on it this time, or if we're just going to go. I think we actually. There we go. Morgan has answered it. I have not done anything because we're going a bit freehand this tonight because of what we're doing. So do not worry. We're going to have nice, fun instructions. No panicking. No panicking here. We've also got the colours. So you've got all your colours here. This is called tops or roving. Most of this is Shetland. This one's a little bit of Cheviot. And what this is it's the sheep's wool that's been... Oh no, yours is still being held hostage at the post office. Give me a shout if it's not with you very quickly. I will have a hunt for that for you as well and see where it's got to in the post office. And hello, Robin. You've made it. Excellent. There's a story about Robin causing my nonsense the other night, which I will tell later on. I'm blaming you still. Right, okay, sorry. Back to seriousness. So, this is the tops are roving. So it's been washed, brushed and dyed, but pretty much it's come off the sheep. And to work with this, if you have your hands nice and far apart, you'll see you can pull out the length of the sheep's hair. So these are all individual hairs that would have been attached to the sheep. So if you have your hands too close together, you're pulling on both ends of the same hair, and you don't want to be pulling hard, so you want to keep your hands nice and far apart and gently pull to get the colours out when we're going to use them. And if there's any twist at all, it's not going to pull apart either, because the twist is what makes yarn stay together. So it's nice and far. Even if you've got your hands far apart, it's not going to come apart. So nice, untwisted, hands nice and far apart, and pull gently. Again, I claim it was only 5 minutes of nonsense. But that's tops. And you're going to hear me say this a lot tonight, but we only need a little. Like, you'd be surprised how far a little goes. I'm going to say little, small, all the words for it. Okay, so we're done with the tops. We've got two last things that are important. Oh, and I'll say again now, for you guys that have just joined in, I've managed to figure out how to get the live chat to be replayed afterwards. So anybody watching this after the live, like once they've got the kits and stuff, they will be able to read your messages, so behave. Okay, so the last sort of technical bit we've got is our needles. So this is what we felt with. So these are needle felts. They've got, where's my camera today? So we've got a sharp stabby end and a hooked end. The sharp stabby end is very sharp. Please do not stab yourself, or avoid stabbing yourself as much as possible. And the hook end. You can use these alone. You don't have to use the holder, but I've provided you guys with a nice wooden holder which can make it a bit easier. So the way this works is there's a peg in one end. Take out the peg and pop the needle in the groove with the hook. Oh, I'm trying to do this while looking at the screen at the same time. And pop the needle in the groove with the hook over the thin end, the smaller end, and pop that back into your holder. I'll do that one more time. So you've got your peg in one end, pop the peg out, and there's a wee groove there. Pop the needle in the groove with the hook over the thin end and back in again. So you can get these with single or multiple spaces for needles, but I like to just use them without this because I'm forever swapping between 1, 2 and 3, and I just hold them in my hand. You're welcome to do that as well. Katie, I'm wondering if you might have enough stuff to maybe do this as well in what you've got. Possibly. Have we touched purple before? Anyway, I'll sort it out with the post office. But come along and chat with us anyway, and you can just listen to my rambling all over again if you want to next time. But okay, let's start getting felted. I think everybody that's coming along tonight has joined. Let's go. So tonight we are, oh, and if you don't want to see what we're doing tonight, close your eyes now. But tonight we're going to do a very Scottish thistle, or multiple thistles. That is the aim. We're going full Scotland. So I suspect, yeah, Katie, you've got all these colours, and we can probably just, you can join in along. There we go. So to start off, you've got a couple of options for hanging it. You can either leave it just like this as a finished picture, put it in a frame, or I've provided in the kits a bit of doweling. And so this doweling, the easiest way I've found is if at the start, what we do is lay down the colour we're going to be using at the top. Just so it covers basically the length of the, I'm losing my voice already. The length of the top there. Pop the dowel there, fold over these bits, and then lay the fibre back down. So what we've made essentially is that we've locked this bit of dowel in there, and it's completely covered in the tops, and then as we're felting along, you'll see, so when you're felting you just felt straight in. Just going to very loosely felt that down, and what that does is it starts to lock in this blue fibre. There's definitely nonsense going on already. And I apologise in advance for my ramblings. Oh, before we start, actually, very important. Please feel free to mute me, fast forward me, rewind me. I am not offended at all. You don't have to listen to my ramblings. You can just watch along. Although, you know, the ramblings can get quite fun at times and quite rambly. Anyway, right, back to this. So if you're doing it this way, then just make sure, in fact I am going to do it this way tonight. I'm going to leave that there. Normally I take it away and don't do it because they sometimes sit in the drawer. We didn't tell anyone that. But tonight I'm going to leave that there, and you guys will all see. I'm just going to fill in that little bit there. You can tidy this up later on at the end as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there, and as we're felting that's going to naturally get felted in. Okay, so to start with the flower, we're going to do the background and then work forward. So I think I want to move up a little bit. There we go. So I'm basically going to cover this in blue. So a nice thin layer of blue all over it. And all I'm doing is pulling little tufts and laying them down. Now, if you guys that have felted along with me before have extras left over of different colours of blues, feel free to pop them in here just now. You can have, I remember we did the sheep one that had like 4 different colours of blue in the sky. I've suddenly gone quiet. Oh, I know what I've forgotten tonight. I haven't got a cup of tea. I hope you guys have got cups of tea or wine or whatever tickles your fancy tonight. So I'm just laying down thin layers. It doesn't matter if there's holes and patches at this stage. That is not a problem at all. I'm covering it up. And once I've got a nice thin layer over it all, I'm going to take my 3 at once and just really gently stabbing. So when you're stabbing, you always want to stab straight, so either up and down or straight at an angle. You never want to bend the needle. Coffee at this time of night. Oh my. Although I suspect it's a different time for you. And now normally I'm going to say it as well, is that just now we're just loosely blocking in colours. This isn't going to be like a heavy felted yet. Heavy felting yet even. Because we're going to block in all the colours and then go over it and felt it in well. So I'm going to fill in any of these little patches. And although it's not much use at this stage, the nice thing about felting, and especially once you've just lightly felted it in, is if you don't like where something is, you can literally just pick it up and move it. But we're just going to stab in that blue all over. What I think I've got, I'm going to shove in a little bit of this other blue. And if you want, you can make it sort of a sunset one, a sunlight one if you've got daytime one, if you've got your colours. And I'm going to pop in. So this stuff is so much fun. This is the Cheviot Slivers. This makes wonderful clouds. So this is similar to the tops, but has been processed slightly less. It's got more sort of neeps and little irregularities in it, and it makes wonderful clouds. So I like to grab a bit and spread it out nicely to make a sort of subtle cloud in the background. Depending on how cloudy you want it, and if it's anything like today, oh my, I got soaked on the way into work. It was a proper just downpour this morning for a good few hours up here. There was a lot of rain. And you know what else I didn't do? I am very remiss today. I haven't looked up any thistle facts. Does anybody, move this down a bit, have any thistle facts? Oh, my wonderful mother, if you're still listening and haven't muted me yet. I'm going to get in trouble for that one later. Because thistles are, I believe, our national flower of Scotland. They're spiky and purple and green and wonderful. So just now I'm just layering up thin layers, and you can do it on top of the colours you've already laid down, because with felting, and with most art I think, the more layers, the more depth it has and the more interest it has. But we don't need to do too much to this background, to be honest though. It's all going to be about the thistle. Oh, and I must apologise in advance, a bit late now, to my regulars. The new shapes I was going to do have not arrived yet. So they're going to have to wait for another month. And it won't be next month we do them, because there's already a plan for next month, which is technically a different shape. And some of you may already know what it is, because I did a secret stream the other night which nonsense was had, doing what we're going to be felting along next month with the kit, because winter is coming. Okay, I think I need some more clouds up there. And I don't get, I'm spending far too much time on this just now actually. Let's call that blocked in and then go and work on the thistle. But before we do that, every so often you want to pull this off the mat, or else it's going to get stuck really well down. And then you'll see it fluffs up a little bit, which is just wonderful. Porcupine feathers. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, they are kind of like a porcupine plant, but these are not going to be porcupiney. Okay, so let's look at the reference one that I've got here. Let's pop that there. So you can make your thistles any shape and any amount that you want, any size. But I'm going to recreate this one again because it's fairly simple, fairly straightforward, and quite fun, I think. So I'm going to start with the stem. So I'm going to take the darker green, and then this is the wonderful thing about felting, is so I've pulled it into, I pulled a thin bit. I'm just going to pull it a little bit more. Give it a little bit of twist if you can, and then lay it kind of where I want it to go. And I'm not going to felt anything down yet, because we're going to block in, we're going to, what's the word, not block, yeah, block in the shape and then decide. So I think I need a little bit more curve there, and then my thistle head's going to be about there. And then it's going to have another one coming off of there. And I'm going to take the slivers, these are words I remember, roll them into a ball, because this is what we're going to use to fill these 3D flowers with, just so that I can block in where they're going to go. So I think that might need to go a little bit higher there. Now play around with this. Morgan, you'll be fine. I believe in you. And then we're going to have some leaves. Why did I not remember the word leaves? Some leaves coming off as well. So I'm just going to, again, take a thin bit, because the leaves are spiky as well, and block in where the leaves are going to go. So we've got one going up there, one there, one down there, and then one is going to come off of there. And now have a look. Does that sort of fill your canvas? Find the edges of your canvas. I think that mine's actually a little bit too far along to that side, so I'm going to move it all just a tad along that way. Oh, I've got some Viking facts, some Thistle facts here. That is a good story. So, oh, you can. Yeah, I don't need to repeat it. You can. I'll repeat it anyway. One legend says that Vikings came to attack some Scottish clansmen, but ran across a bed of thistles and very loudly announced their presence. I can imagine. I do not want to ever run across a bed of thistles. And remember, you've got the top of it is also going to go there, so you don't want it to be too high up. Let's see, am I centered? How am I looking? Yeah, I'm pretty happy. But remember, we can change positions later on, especially when it's still lightly felted in. I'm pretty happy with that. Right, let's start gently sort of felting these down just where you've placed them. We're going to add detail and depth later on, don't worry. We want the stems to be like just a bit less than your nail. So reasonably thin. A nice bend on the stem there. A nice bend on the leaves. I am now muttering. It looks like a... Ooh! Robin says they have... I was about to say mechanical. That's the wrong word. Medicinal properties as well and can be made into tea. Oh, I've never tried thistle tea. So then this one's going a little bit wonky there, so I'm just going to gently move it so it's got that nice curve there. Perfect. So the stems are just very lightly one colour. We're going to add more colours to them in a minute, do not panic. And then add in, start stabbing in your ball to make, we're going to make that a little bit thicker there. And you can build it up. So it's a nice half dome shaped. You can use any colour to fill in this bit because it's not going to get seen. I've just taken this one because it's nice and easy. I keep looking at the screen. I'm going to stab myself in the finger. Okay. Let's block. Oh my word, it's Friday. I can tell it's Friday. Let's block out its... So we've got the nice two domes and a slightly wonky stem. And now we need to do a little triangle-y shape. So I tend to do a bit, so leave like a finger width gap, make a little oval, and then join that oval up. To the circle. Did that make any sense? And the same again for this top one. I'm gonna pop in a wee oval about a finger's width away and roughly the same width as your and then just fill in, make it go to a point that meets down there. Perfect. Now is a good idea. Now is a good time to hold it up and see if you're happy with the placement, if you want it higher or lower. I think I am reasonably happy. I'm debating if I want it a little bit lower down. Let's see, I think I might want this, just this guy, down a little bit. He's a little bit too high up. That's better. Yep, that's better. That's the joy of having not felted it well in yet. I need to learn English. Not felted it in well yet. That you can still smooch it around and move it. Okay, so now let's start putting in some colours. So we're going to add a little bit of the green to cover up this guy here. And now I'm very deliberately laying it so that the lengths of fibre run up and down the way in the same sort of angle that you would find the leaves grow. So I'm going to take this bit and fold it in half so that the bottom is sort of a bit more rounded, and then the fibres are going up the way. And do not worry if yours looks like a mess just now. This is perfectly normal and part of the process. Mine looks like a state, but it will all come together. There we go, that's one seed pod. Let's go with seed pod. And 2 seed pods. I wonder if this one should be up a little bit more. Remember, everyone's unique and every time you do it, it's going to come out differently. And that is the joy of art and felting. I'm concentrating just now on not stabbing my fingers. Okay, yeah, I want this one to move up a little bit, just a touch. So I'm going to literally pull it up and shift it up there, and then stab it down again. Excellent, that's better. Oh, my knees keep knocking on something. I apologise for the knocking sound. Cool. Right, now we're going to take the lighter green and start layering that on top. So we're going to imagine that we've got a sun coming from one angle. So I'm going to take the sun coming down here. So I want to sort of make a highlight essentially, and I'm going to focus the lighter on anywhere the sun would hit. So I'm just taking thin bits as well this now and focusing more on the right hand side, but I'll put them all over. I'm going to add the lighter green. Though I'm wondering if I've given myself the right green. Is this the same green you guys have got? Who knows? I'm also going to take that green down the stem as well, doing the same thing. It's going to be on slightly more on the left hand side than the right hand side. I know it seems silly covering up the colour that you just put down, but the more we felt it in, the colour below will sort of start to sort of show through slightly. It's lovely, and just create that depth. Am I going off the bottom of the page again? And look at what a mess it looks like just now. But trust me. How are you doing, Morgan? Again, this one is covering up that darker green with the lighter green. And down the stem as well. Oh, excellent. Good, good. Are you having confidence in yourself? You can do it. And now, before we start fiddling with the leafy bits, let's get the thistle on so that it starts to really feel like a thistle. So again, I'm going to take the darker colour first. This time, so I'm going to pull out that little bit. I'm going to fold it in half. So I've got a fluffy end. See if, where can you see that? So I've got a fluffy end and a rounded end. I'm going to leave the fluffy ends fluffy. They're not going to get felted in. So what I'm going to do is pop the base where it's folded over. I agree, Robin. The more colours and the more layers looks lovely and realistic. Because the thistles, even this bit's all spiky. It's really cool. So I'm poking the folded, oh, words, hello, I can do this. I'm poking the folded bit so it's nice and close together, and then I'm going to spread out the ends, and if it's too long we can definitely trim it, but I quite like that. The more you stab it in, the shorter they'll get, which is a weird thing to say. And I'm just gently poking down there. That needs built up a little bit more, I think, so I'm gonna just lift it up gently, squish in some more fluff just under there, and then lay it down again. So we want it to be nice and 3D. We're going to add a couple of layers because we want more fluff at the top. I'll come back to that one in a second. I'll do a bit more on this one. Oh, but I'll start by adding in a bit more fluff, so it's a little bit thicker. And again, folding it in half, so we've got the fluffy end fluffing out, the technical term, and there we go. So you can angle as well if you want something to go a little bit closer. If you angle where you're stabbing, that'll change it slightly as well. There we go. Now we're going to take a bit of the light purple, and it's just a little bit this time. fold it in half as before and pop it down. So that might do it all there. So you can gently stab around this bit to sort of lock it in a little bit. Again, just a tiny of the light purple on top, as if these are the outsides of the plant that's been hit by the light. They're the yes, fluffers and squishies. You are my fluffies. There we go. So we have blocked out everything, but we're going to spend a good wee while fiddling, putting in more detail, doing all of these things. So I'm gonna leave these for a bit because it's always good. I always really like to do a little bit on something, move on to somewhere else, so that you kind of never get one area completely finished and you're just working on all the bits at the same time. We're going to go back to the leaves. Now the leaves, ignore what's going on here, they're all spiky as well. So we're going to put little spiky points just coming off all of the leaves. Now check you've got the angles are what you want them to be on all the leaves. I'm pretty happy with that, apart from this one up there. And I'm just going to, working from the bottom, take a little bit. There's oh, my Google is asking how it can help me. It can't. There we go. Take a little piece, fold it in half again. Tonight is all about folding in half. Put the base in at the base of the stalk, and then let it just naturally go where it wants, just go up. I'm going to do the same again. A little bit, so putting the base a little bit higher up, folding it over, and I'm going to work my way all the way up. So the spikes are kind of coming off at, what angle is that? 45-ish degree angle, if you want to get your set squares out. Is it set squares? Probably set squares. I'm going to do one last one. So we've got 5 leaves in total. Now these are just lightly put in, so you can move it as well, don't worry. I feel like this one should be up there and that's better. Blowing in the wind. Oh, I could really use a drink now. This is where I'd stop for my sip of tea or fake coffee. What's wrong with this one? There's something wrong there. I'll come back to that. We'll move on to this one and then come back to that one and wiggle it about. So again, I'm taking my little folded section, having it coming off there to a point, and working one, the other, one, the other. I think it's too long. No, that's longer than, yes. Let's shorten up a little bit, shall we? That's a bit better. And then 2 more little bits coming off there. How's our time looking? Our time's looking not too bad. So we generally, these last about an hour until we've blocked in everything. And then I always suggest that you stop. So an hour of felting and being creative is enough. And come back in a day or two. And we're going to finish felting it then. Because even once it's blocked in, we need to go over it all, stabbing everywhere to lock everything in. But I wouldn't suggest doing that tonight. And this also gives you time to have a sort of, because your eyes get really, that word that's gone, your eyes get really accustomed and focused on all the little details and don't necessarily see the big picture. So it's really good to go away, have a break, and then come back in a day or two with fresh eyes and see if anything needs changed or switched around, and then give it a really good felting all over. And especially working on this bit up here, you'll see the more you felt up this bit, these little fluffy bits kind of tighten to the dowel and lock in really nicely. I also know what's missing is that we haven't put the light green on top. Let's do a tiny bit of that. So focusing, if you can, on the top portion of the leaves. It's not especially stressful if you don't. So the leaves will be all the colours. That just, there we go. Oh, that makes me feel a lot better now that green's in. I think that's what was making it stand out, because those leaves looked a bit out of place against the stem. There we go, I've stopped talking. My rambling has ceased for at least a minute. So I'm just flowing it into the main stem, which is quite fun, because it means it kind of looks like an actual leaf would look like. There we go, so we've got this one last leaf to do. How is everybody getting on? I have questions. I think my stem is getting a little bit thick. I think I'm going to work to thin it. So to thin it, I'm just stabbing at an angle. I'm not bending the needle, but I'm stabbing at an angle on either side to push it into itself. And that'll thin it out nicely. There we go. the further down you go, the stem can get thicker because it would naturally do that. I'm going off the... And I've left this fluff at the bottom. I think I'm just going to leave it. I quite like it so it goes off the page, as it were, and pulls it out. I'm going to add in my green on top of the green, in fact. Now these leaves on this one are looking more spiky than these ones. These seem almost, they're a bit longer and more, I like it. They're more, I want to say organic, but they're both leaves. So that doesn't necessarily make any sense, but I reserve the right not to make sense. Okay, so I'm going to give it a good felting all over, including the background, for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go in and work on any areas that I think need working on. Also going to hold it up and have a look. Yeah, that's looking nice. Okay, so good stabby all over, the technical term. I'm just going to work from the bottom. And if I see bits that need tweaking as I'm going, just tweak them. So this is what you're going to do when you come back in a day or two. It's just a good locking in. I love how there's like clouds behind the thistle there. That was semi-accidental. Fill in any bits that are missing. I'm not fluffing in these. I want them to stay nice and, that word, fluffy, for want of a better word. Now I'm going to move this away while I'm felting above. When you're stabbing up here, make sure not stab the dowel, because that's definitely when you're going to break a needle. Again. Oh, and you've also got options for the edging. So now is a good time to discuss edging options. You can see there's a couple of white bits poking through up there. So I will just take the blue and add on top of it until they're hidden. But for edging, you can leave it wind blown and interesting, like this. You can be harsh and just chop straight up the edge with a pair of scissors. Oh, my thistle's gone a funny shape. There we go. Or what I like to do is make sure the colour goes right up to the edge and fold it in to the back. Oh, pardon me. And felt it in, and that edge, so that back bit is getting pushed in and you get a nice edge. In fact, let's just, although I haven't fully put in colour up to the edge, it doesn't really matter at the moment. And the same on the other edge, just folding in the extra. It gives it, I think it gives it quite a nice organic feel. Although I do love just leaving it fluffy, because they get poked a lot in the shop. It was a bit better to have a neater edge. this one looks like it's falling off. That's better. And you can, I think, am I going to do it for this one? Maybe. You don't have to leave your ends fluffy. You can felt them in. Although I think I prefer the fluffy edge. So let's... There we go. That's starting to look, it's looking wonky because I keep going over the edge. That needs a little bit more of the light purple on top. So this is now the stage where I'm just fiddling and playing. And the more detail you add, the more layers and the more detail you add, the more interesting and real it's gonna look. But I love these fluffy shapes. Do I want to add a little bit of the darker green on top? Questions. Oh, that's not even a darker green. Yes, there we go. So again, going back to what I say about layering, adding that dark green on top of the lighter green just blends out that colour. And I like that it's down near the bottom, leaving the top a little bit lighter. That's starting to look like a lovely little Thistle seed. Thistle. I can't speak. Thistle seed pod. I'll do the same again on the other one. And this is it. This is your thistle is thistled out. We're just playing. And this is I love this bit. Because the one tiny thing that you do just now can just suddenly go, ah! That makes all the difference. That's better. And I'm going to do the same with the stalk. I'm going to put some green on top. And then it goes down, it just brings it down. Excellent. I don't think I've got... I am lost for words. I don't know what to say. What else have I got to say? Nothing. I hope everybody's having a good week. And I've been remarkably nonsense-free tonight. Although when I was doing the one on whatever day it was that I did recently, I was so good because nobody was chatting in the comments, so I was just being sensible-ish. And then I just went downhill from there. But we're going to be doing, so next month, for you guys that are part of the Felt Along, that do it fresh each month, we are doing something completely different. It's not going to be a Scottish landscape or a Scottish... Well, technically it could be considered... You are behaving yourself very well. Thank you. You can be a little bit nonsensy. Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna tell you guys. Am I allowed to tell you guys what we're doing next month? Oh, I don't want to spoil the... In fact, the surprise is spoiled because you can watch the video, or my practice video that I did the other night, to see if I could actually do it in time. But there might be some changes for next month, so keep an eye. We may, if we're going to do it fully, have to do 2 nights. I know, exciting. Right, what am I doing? I'm just playing. Cool. Yes, you could definitely make all the flowers fluffy and puffy. What other ones are there? So we've got our normal thistle, we've got a sort of another kind of thistle that's less spiky. There are loads of fluffy flowers, but I do not know the names of flowers. Ask me about succulents. I could tell you lots of names, but not flowers. Is that stem? No, that stem's not too thick. I love the curve, but it's just blowing in the wind. I think I'm done. I think I'm pretty happy with tonight's effort. What are we at? Ah! 59 minutes. That's pretty good going, actually. I am impressed with myself. Look at that. 59 minutes and we pretty much have a felted thistle. I am losing. I think I need to go home and have my dinner because my words are disappearing. Pretty much have a felted thistle. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do the likey, subscribey things in the bottom. I really appreciate it. And I love seeing your photos on the felting group on Facebook. That's linked in the bottom as well. If you have any questions, chuck them there. Everyone's super helpful and wonderful. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed felting a thistle. Blowing in our... Ooh, violets would be fun. Am I going to have to do a theme of flowers next? No. Maybe. We'll see. Because this has been really good. I really enjoyed. I just love... I'm just going to squish these for a while. Don't mind me. Right, I'm going to run away before... I do need some more tea. Oh my god. Yes, I need to go and have a drink, non-alcoholic drink, eat some food, and then I think go to bed because it's pitch black outside and it's only 7 o'clock. Winter has officially come to Fort William. Have a lovely night, everybody. If not before, I will see you all on the first Friday of next month with our exciting awesome. Have a good night. See you. Thank you. Oh, and these comments are still going to be up.